gotta give me a name for my Majesty Palm. And if you're wondering, look what just happened to my nail. Can you guys see this? What a joke. My nail just like peeled off, so this is what we're working with. Yeah, I don't want to hear anything in the comments about it because you guys just saw what happened. So there's that. So anyways, hey guys, I'm back with another video. I apologize, I haven't been super consistent. Just been really busy. Things have happened since the last time I made a video, and Megan Thee Stallion just dropped an album, so hey, welcome back to my channel. You know, all the normal things. Real quick update about me. I finally got a transfer out of Chicago. So after this video, the next time I put out a video, I'll probably be coming live as a Dallas-based flight attendant. So that's exciting. So you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you know how to find it. That's that on that. Now let's get started. Today we are going to be discussing yet another question that I get often on Instagram and in person. So you're a flight attendant. How do you get into something like that? And what they mean by that is basically, how do you apply? What is the application process like? And those sorts of things. So I figured, you know, in true Michaela fashion, I'd make a video about it so that I don't have to type the same thing 3,000 times. Not to discourage anyone from reaching out to me if you do have questions, because I'm always more than happy to answer them for you, but I just wanted to make sure that I covered it here because it seems like it's something that a lot of you guys want to know. I have my little handy dandy notebook here, and I'm just gonna kind of go through the things that I think are important. So real quick, I want to discuss background. It seems to me like airlines kind of look for lots of customer service background or experience on your resume. You don't need any special degrees. I do see online a lot of people ask if they should go to these like special flight attendant schools, and I didn't do it. Don't know anyone who has. If you decide that that's what you see fit, if that's what you want to do, fine, but I think that it's important to save your money for other things. I would not encourage someone to go that route, but if you do, your business. So the application process timeline, I think that there were about 9 months in between the day I applied for the job and my first day of work. And I'll kind of go through the steps and why it takes so long. But with that, I just want to say, if you have moving parts to your life right now, but this is something that you want to do, don't worry, because you're probably going to be in a different space in your life when you actually start working. So if you're thinking about it, apply now or whenever the airline you want to work for is hiring, because it will be a little while before you have to really make any moves. First step, you know me, I say research your airlines. You want to figure out what is going to best suit your lifestyle. Okay, so the things that you're going to want to look for when you're researching airlines are your pay. You know, the pay scales are a little bit different from airline to airline. You want to figure out which airline has the base options that you want. Whether you're trying to be based at home or you have family in another city or whatever the case may be, you want to figure out what bases does your airline operate out of and how that's going to work with your life. Because like you all know, my airline had me all the way out in Chicago, and I knew that was an option before I went into it. I just decided to complain about it the whole way. Another thing that you want to probably do, well, you know, I hope the girls don't get mad at me for this, but I would say once you figure out which airline you want to work for, find flight attendants that already work for that company, because they can probably give you some insight. And I don't know if everyone's really open to people asking them questions like I am, but that's what I did. I found girls that work for the airline that I wanted to work for, and I was like, hey girls, so like, how was it? You know, so I would encourage you to do the same. But yeah, that's that on that. So after you figure out what's important to you and what you want in an airline, you do want to figure out who's hiring at the time, because the postings will open and close at different times, and they're not always hiring all year long, especially not the legacy carriers. They kind of put it out there, whoever applies, and then they go from there. So there's a website called flightattendantcareerconnection.com, and that site will actually tell you who's hiring and who's currently hiring. And so I found that really helpful. Quick pro tip: apply everywhere. You kind of want to keep your options open because they are very selective and the process can be pretty competitive. So if you have multiple airlines that you want to work for, but this one is the one that you want most, you want to make sure that you not only apply for that one specific airline, but apply for airlines that are like that airline, so that you can have, some options in case your plan A doesn't work out. You know what they always say: I was about to say something really stupid. Okay, so after you've done the application and the assessment or questionnaire, you will probably, if you're successful, you will probably be invited to do either a phone interview or a video interview, or both. I won't go too in depth about the process of that. They're kind of self-explanatory. You either do an interview with a recruiter over the phone, or you do a video interview, which you record yourself on like your laptop answering the questions that are given to you, and they give you a certain amount of time to answer them. So that's the step after that. So the recruiters will watch your video interview or evaluate your phone interview, and if they like you, they'll say, hey, we want you to come down to X state and do a face-to-face interview. Now, some airlines will pay for your travel, some won't. Most of the mainline carriers will fly you out to whatever their base or their hub city is for your interview, but they don't necessarily pay for where you're going to stay, so that's something to keep in mind. But you're only really there for like a day, maybe two, but it just kind of depends. Now, one thing I don't want is for you guys to come back and be like, so what are they going to ask me in the video interview? What are they going to ask me in the face-to-face interview? All I can say about that is do your research. I am not going to give you those answers. So yeah, just look into that on your own. It's 2019. That's all I'll say. Use your resources. Now, after you do your face-to-face interview, my biggest tip would be to be patient, because it's a long process. Sometimes it can take up to like 6 months for you to hear anything back from your face-to-face interview. I've heard stories of people getting their contingent job offer the same day, and I've heard people getting a contingent job offer 6 months later in their email. I was actually hired on the spot with my airline. After a couple rounds of interviewing, they did offer me the position. So I think that the biggest tip I can give is to just be patient in that time that you're waiting if you're not hired the same day, because you kind of just never know. You never know. These airlines are so unpredictable. You just want to be patient and know that just because you don't get an email or a phone call the same day, that doesn't mean that you didn't get the job. I would continue to interview if you have other interviews lined up, just because I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket ever. So just keep your options open and keep, just remain, chill. Yay! We get a call or an email saying, hey, we loved you. We want you to come to training. Now, typically they're going to give you a couple months from the day that they give you your offer to the day that they give you a training, or to the day that you have to start training. So I think there were like 4 or 5 months in between my interview date. 4 months. 4 months in between my interview date and the day I started training. So that's probably, training is almost 2 months long for my airline. So that was probably why the process took so long, because most of it was spent waiting to start training. So I think I applied in like October, and if my math is wrong, don't y'all come in my comments trying to correct me, okay? It may not have been 9 months, but it was something around there. I applied in October, interviewed in January, started training in April, graduated training in May. My first day on the line was June. So I don't know how many months that is. I'm not a mathematician. I'm a flight attendant. So there is that. It's a long process. It's gonna take a minute. So after that, you start training. And I've already talked about training. If you have any more questions about training, feel free to reach out to me. And I do want to say congratulations to all of you that are graduating training right now, because I know it's graduation season. So with that being said, that's my quick little words are, I'm just not the words girl today. Yeah, that's that on that. That's the video. That's it. I'm done. It's been great talking to y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. Also be sure to help me come up with a name for my Majesty palm that I move around from room to room to give me a backdrop. So comment below if you can come up with a cute name for my Majesty palm. Oh, and my little orchid that I just got. Well, didn't just get, but got recently. Give me 2 names. The winner will be the winner. Yeah, okay. Subscribe, do all those things, okay? Thanks.